Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Austin's Academy of Sports. I'm here with my roommate Daniel again. We're here to talk about the conference championship weekend that is supposed to happen this weekend. We just wrapped up divisional weekend. Some of the games were good, some of them weren't. We're here to preview what's to come this weekend. There's only two more games left this weekend, and then we got the elusive Pro Bowl and Super Bowl. But the NFC is at 3 p.m. on Fox on Sunday. Both of these games are on Sunday. The AFC Championship is at 6:30 on CBS. Four teams left, two games left. Like I said, Commanders at Eagles and Bills at Chiefs. Well, first I want to mention that I'm coming in with a heavy heart with the Lions. Being a Lions fan, I'm sure you being a Packers fan is a heavy heart as well, not losing in their first round playoff game as well. But that everything's not always about sports. How are you feeling, Daniel, about Packers and Lions both losing NFC North?
I mean, for me, I come in with a different mindset in this when it comes to the football games than you guys. I work with sports, so I kind of view it in a different way. But I think for the Packers, we're a young team. I'm still gonna keep on saying it from here on out. And I think, for the Lions, I mean, it just comes down to experience. I feel like they had some guys like Jared Goff there, but then there's also some of the guys who this is their first year maybe getting this far into the playoffs. So there's that experience gap, and then you have, I mean, some questionable coaching decisions with play calling, but I mean, hey, it was entertaining.
Yeah, so yeah, for prior knowledge, I'm sure most of you know this. The Lions did lose 45-31 Saturday night in Ford Field as the one seed against the Commanders, and it was a rough pretty much second quarter. The Commanders scored 28 points, or maybe it was 21 points in that quarter. And there was like some awful mistakes from the Lions. The Lions beat themselves up on it. And they pretty much, like I said, beat themselves. Commanders didn't do anything really special. They just beat themselves. They had a pivotal pick six. They had a 12 men on the field penalty when it was down in the Lions part of the field. Commanders were about to score, but it was fourth and goal. And all the coaches saw it according to social media, and they didn't call a timeout. So that penalty kind of drew them back and gave the Commanders a free first down, free new set of downs. There's a key fumble in the game. And then there's just many other miscues that burnt themselves up throughout the game. But this was probably the Lions' best chance to win a Super Bowl. I mean, you go 15-2 in the regular season. You knock down the number one seed, lock down the number one seed in the playoffs. You get home field advantage throughout the whole game. And, you're now still the only NFC team since the merger to not make the Super Bowl. What are your thoughts on the Lions this season and coming into next season?
I mean, again, I have that different outlook, and I think for the Lions, you know, this is a stepping stone.
Mm-hmm.
You create that stepping stone right here, and now you're not gonna break it apart. You're gonna build from it. So I think from here on out, I think the Lions are gonna build from this experience. I think that it's a good outlook for the team. I think that, Coach Dan Campbell, I love his gutsiness, but I think that there's certain times where, hey, maybe you shouldn't have JMO throw that ball down the field, Maybe you should just run the ball with Jahmyr Gibbs or give the ball to David Montgomery. So, I love how gutsy Dan Campbell is, and I love, just how the Lions look this season. I don't think anybody expected them to go 15-2. I certainly didn't expect them to win the NFC North. So it was a very entertaining football season for the Lions.
Yeah, and we just got news like today, like 2 hours, an hour ago before we're recording this on a Monday that the Lions offensive coordinator or ex-Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson is moving on to the Bears. NFC North just keeps getting better, which we will talk about probably later on this semester or during the summer before next season starts. It's not Bears season yet. We still got some, like I said, two games to focus on. And let's start with the Commanders Eagles. 1-1 in the regular season, so they split. But I think the Commanders won at their place, at their own home, and then the Eagles won. So each team won at their own home field. Eagles have home field advantage since the Lions got knocked out. And then the Eagles have an 0-1 record against Commanders in playoffs. I know the last game they played was 1991. I did my research on that. So they haven't played in a while. But this Jane Daniels guy, he is amazing. He just seems unfazed. He's ready for the challenge. And I think when they go into Lincoln Financial Field this Sunday, I could see the Commanders pulling away with a win. What are your thoughts on this game, Daniel?
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. I think the Commanders are hot. Um, I mean, it's been talked about, I know this is the NFL, but it's been talked about with college football. Right now, teams are hot, and I think Commanders are one of them. And I don't think the Eagles played that well of a game, especially against the Packers and, their last game against the Rams. Um, you could say snowy conditions. You could say, just a little bit of rust or this and that. But at the end of the day, I think you got a hot team right now in the Washington Commanders, and I think that they're gonna pull out with the win in this game.
Yeah, like you said, I do see it's going to be close. I mean, at this point, both of these games that we're going to mention, I, I'm not going to say I could care less who wins. I want the Commanders to win now because they just beat the Lions, so it's better for the team to beat your favorite team to win it all. And I like Jaden Daniels. I coming into that Lions game, I didn't think the Lions were going to run away with it. I think they were like +8 favorites in that game, and they didn't. Obviously they didn't run away with it. They didn't even have an opportunity to run away with it, but both of these teams are NFC East juggernauts. Daniels has 567 yards passing in just 2 games this playoffs. De'Ami Brown, one of his main targets, has 187 yards. And then Jalen Hurts, he's played 2 games and he's only got less than 300 yards, 259 to be exact. So Saquon has definitely been kind of carrying that team when they have to, because it just the weather circumstances. But so far the Eagles are favored. I saw the spread yesterday or today it was, and I think the Eagles are favored. But like you said, Daniel, I'm picking Commanders to win that game and advance for book their ticket to the Super Bowl in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Next game, we got Buffalo at Kansas City. Bills are 2-4 versus the Chiefs in the playoffs. First game was in 1967. So these teams are familiar with each other in the playoffs, but especially the last few years. Mahomes is 3-0 versus Allen in the playoffs. It's in Arrowhead. Who you got in this game?
Again, I'm still gonna go with the teams that are hot, and I think the Buffalo Bills are a hot team. It was a little scary game against the Baltimore Ravens, but hey, you know, you got the MVP race between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. I think that hey, Lamar is Lamar, and he's a great quarterback, and that was a very close game. I think the big thing for that Bills Chiefs game is capitalizing on the mistakes.
Mhm.
Um, I think if Chiefs make a mistake, hey, Bills got to go down and score because Patrick Mahomes, you give him a sliver of time, he's gonna find a way to make a touchdown, to get a score, to get into field goal range, anything. So I think it really just comes down to who can capitalize on the mistakes, turnover battle. Um, you know, there's a lot of great things that we've seen from this Bills team, and I think that hopefully overcoming this hump and beating the Chiefs, so we don't have to see that 3P with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, most fans would agree with you there. You mentioned Lamar and Josh Allen. Who, if I had to ask you, who do you think would be your MVP candidate this year?
You know, I originally wanted Josh Allen. I think that I mean, hey, you got a quarterback here who's throwing the ball, but then some way somehow gets the ball back and scores his own touchdown,
Hmm.
Just the incredible plays. I think he's more of a highlight play, but really when you look down at Lamar Jackson, it's a tough battle there, You have that RPO game and you think Derrick Henry has it, but in the reality, it's Lamar Jackson, running off for, 70 yards. So I think is my final vote is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, both of those players on the Ravens, Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, are phenomenal. Josh Allen, he has a few weapons. He doesn't have as many as Lamar, I would say. Both would be great on any team. You could put them on any non-favorable NFL team like the Giants or any bad team like that, and they would still dominate with their legs. They could just escape the pocket when needed. and it was a great game to watch them two go against each other. In the end, the Ravens had a few miscues, especially from Mark Andrews. He took a lot of heat, and he probably will for the remainder of his playing time, or unless the Ravens fans get over it. I don't know. But Buffalo moves on. They play the Chiefs. I think the X factor for the Bills this game is Damar Hamlin. He's had a rough going in the NFL since his cardiac arrest in 2023, and he has to be that ball hawk that the Bills drafted him for. And they Bills traded a safety because originally Hamlin was not the starter, right? Was he? And then
Correct.
he
He
got moved
was,
in.
yeah. I think he
Yeah,
was like a
because
third string starter, and then yeah, then somehow he got looped in.
yeah, I think like they lost one of their safeties in free agency, but he's now the starting safety. He plays most of their roles, or a big role in the Bills factor. But I still think, like you said, committing, capitalizing on those turnovers. The Chiefs can have turnovers this year. They're not the most dominant team from the last 2 years. And once Patrick Mahomes turns the ball over, or if he does, Bills have to drive down the field, like you said, and get that touchdown. I think the Bills can do it. So who you got? Who are your Super Bowl favorites again this year that you
I
mentioned?
mean, overall, I want Commanders and I want the Bills,
Hmm.
but I think my only game I'm really skeptical about is that Chiefs and Bills game.
Yeah.
Just Patrick Mahomes, man. There's just something about him, and I think that at the end of the day, I think he comes out with the win, and I think it'll be good for the Commanders to get into the Super Bowl. Underdogs. Um, with what's happened with their organization and just the adversity they've faced, and just the leadership and everything like that. I think it would be good for the Commanders to get to the Super Bowl. So for me, my Super Bowl my two Super Bowl teams are gonna be the Commanders and Chiefs.
Yeah, those are my two as well. I like the Commanders. I hope they win. I know they'll win. I don't know they'll win. I hope they win. And then Bills, like you said. But Chiefs are inevitable. Well, I mean, that pretty much wraps up those two games. Conference championship weekend. We got the Natty, depending on when you're watching this. We got the Natty tonight. Who's your take for Ohio State Notre Dame?
I mean, I'm wearing the shirt right now, so I
Yeah, I
got
got
Notre Dame.
to rep Notre Dame, man. You like who's your favorite player or coach on Notre Dame?
I mean, I love Coach Smart. Marcus Smart. I think he's a phenomenal coach. I mean, no, not Marcus Smart. Marcus Freeman. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um, I should know my coaches here, but yeah, Marcus Freeman here,
No,
and
you got the first name right. So hey, that
yeah,
counts.
yeah,
No,
I got Marcus Freeman here, and you know, just the way he talks to his players, I think is very inspirational. The, the one thing that they talked about was how Brian Kelly left Notre Dame because he said, "Hey, Notre Dame doesn't have enough NIL money," and I mean, look where Brian Kelly is right now. Not playing for a national championship, but
mhm, yeah.
he, like Marcus is here playing right now with Notre Dame, against Ohio State. I will say, I know Ohio State is hot. I know they're a hot team. Uh, I think that after the Michigan game, I think that really helped them.
Mhm.
But I think I gotta go with the Fighting Irish in this one.
Yeah, I'm opposite of you. I got Ohio State winning this. The only way Notre Dame can potentially come away with this win is if they are fundamentally smart when they're tackling. If Will Howard gets the ball into his playmakers' hands, you got Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Ibuka, Travion Henderson. I could go on and on for days. Their tight end is even good. I mean, they're loaded on the defensive side, and they're the sayings about Ohio State can be not true, to be honest with you. They only got one starter that transferred over on defense, and that's Caleb Downs. He's a phenomenal player, one of the best safeties in college football, but the rest of those players are homegrown, as you could say. 2021
Yep.
recruiting class, and they went 0-4 against Michigan, but this is their chance to end on a bang before they head off to the draft, or if they choose to come back next year. I think Ohio State gets the job done. Jeremiah Smith is the MVP of the national championship. Well, for that, I mean, we talked our three games that we wanted to talk to. Thank you for coming on, Daniel, again, and we'll look forward to seeing you next semester. Have a good rest of your day.